Chapter 1. The ride begins. Feel first, then learn. Learning. English is not about big words. It's about real feelings, just like a taxi ride that changed everything. Her name is Isabella. She is 82 years old. She lives alone now. Her husband died many years ago. Her children live far away. But something special is happening this week. Her family invited her to Cancun, a big reunion. Her daughters, her son, her grandchildren. Everyone will be there. She said yes. She bought the ticket. She packed her bag. She came. Today, she arrived. She was tired, but happy. Her heart was full. She was ready to see her family again, ready for hugs, ready for smiles. But first, she had to go to the hotel. She walked outside. The air was warm. She looked for a taxi. A car stopped. A taxi. She opened the door. She smiled. She said, "Hello?" The driver said nothing. He looked ahead. No words, no smile, just silence. She told him the name of her hotel. He started the car. Still no smile, still no words. She sat back. She looked out the window, but inside, she felt a question. Who is this man? Why is he so quiet? She asked him, "Is it a busy day?" He said, "No." Just one word. No tone, no warmth. She felt the coldness, not outside, but in the space between them. She said nothing more, but she listened, and she waited. Then he turned on the radio. A sad song played, a soft, slow song. But after a few seconds, he turned it off. Fast. Too fast. Like the song touched something deep. Like the song hurt him. She didn't ask. She just felt it. This man has pain. A few minutes passed. Then he asked her, "You came here alone?" She said, "No. My family is here. We will meet soon." He was quiet again. Then he said, "Family is not always easy." His voice was low, heavy. That was the moment she understood. This ride was not only about the hotel. This was something more. This was a small window into a big story. The car was moving, but the real journey was inside the driver. Isabella said nothing. She thought about her family, about the dinner they would share, about her son's jokes, her daughter's hugs, her granddaughter's smile. The driver said, "You are lucky." She asked, "Why?" He said, "Because you have a family who wants to see you." She didn't answer. Not yet. She waited. Then he continued, "My wife and I, we fight all the time. We don't talk. We don't smile. It's like we live in two different worlds." Isabella listened. She said, "That sounds hard." He nodded. "It is. I sleep on the couch. My daughter doesn't talk to me. She says I never listen." He looked straight ahead. His voice was quiet now, honest. He said, "Maybe she's right." And in that moment, Isabella knew he wasn't rude. He wasn't cold. He was just broken. She stayed quiet, but her silence was not empty. It was kind. It said, "I hear you." He said, "I work every day. I drive this car. I take people to nice places. I smile at strangers. But in my own house, I feel like a ghost." That word, ghost, stayed in her heart. A ghost is someone who is there, but not seen, not heard. He said, "Last night I almost left. I packed a bag. I wanted to disappear." Isabella asked, "And why didn't you?" He said, "Because my daughter cried. She didn't speak, but I heard her cry." His voice changed, softer now, slower. "I don't know how to be a father," he said. "I don't know how to be a husband. I wanted to say something strong, something true, but the words didn't come." Isabella didn't answer, because sometimes silence is the answer. It says, "I understand." And here is the truth of this story. You don't need perfect English to understand it. You don't need hard grammar to feel it. You only need to listen and to feel. This is how language really begins. Before you write, before you speak, you must listen, and not just listen to words. Listen to emotion, to tone, to silence. English is not just about sentences. It's about connection. You learn English faster when you feel something real. That's why stories like this help you, because they are full of life, full of meaning, full of feeling. Even if you don't understand every word, your heart understands the story. So, here is your first step. Listen to English with feeling. Watch a slow story, a true one. Don't worry if you miss some words. Feel the speaker's voice. Feel the pauses, the sadness, the joy. Close your eyes and listen with your heart. That's how babies learn. That's how you learned your first language. And that's how you can learn English, not from grammar books, not from tests, but from life. Because language begins in the heart, not in the textbook. Chapter 2: Words Without Smiles. The Power of Silence. The car kept moving. The streets of Cancun passed by. Trees, buildings, people walking in the sun. But inside the car, it was quiet. Not just a little quiet, a deep quiet. A silence that had weight. It was the kind of silence that stays, that speaks louder than noise. The driver looked straight ahead. His hands were tight on the wheel. His mouth did not move. His eyes did not smile, but his silence was not empty. It was full of something broken. Isabella could feel it. She looked at him. She didn't speak, but her mind was thinking, how many people live like this? Silent, heavy, afraid to speak, afraid to be heard. Then she thought about English, and how many learners feel the same. They sit in class, they open books, they read long lists of words, but when someone speaks to them, they freeze. Not because they don't know the words, but because they don't know the tone, the pause, the silence. The driver's silence was like that. It said so much. He didn't say, I'm hurt. But Isabella knew he was. He didn't say, I miss my daughter. But she could hear it in the way he looked at the road, the way he turned off the radio, the way he said, ghost. That word was not spoken loudly, but it was heavy. That's when Isabella remembered something important. Words are not the only way we speak. We also speak with silence, with the space between words, with the breath before we answer, with the moment we look away instead of replying. And this is part of English too. If you want to learn English, you must learn more than vocabulary. You must learn the pauses, the music, the mood. You must learn the parts that are not written in books. You must learn to listen not just to the words, but to the feelings. The driver finally said something again. Just one sentence. I used to laugh, he said. Then nothing. No explanation. No story. Just that. But Isabella understood. He didn't mean, I used to laugh, as a memory. He meant it as a loss. A small grave buried in one sentence. This is what silence can teach you. In English, people do not always say everything. They often say little. But inside those little things, there is a world. That is why you must train your ears, not just for grammar, but for emotion. Watch a movie scene with little talking. Turn off the subtitles. Watch the faces. Listen to the breath. Listen to how long someone waits before they reply. That pause means something. Sometimes it means love. Sometimes fear. Sometimes it means, I want to say something, but I can't. This is not grammar, but it is English. In the taxi, Isabella thought, this man is teaching me something. Not with lessons, not with notes, but with his silence. His silence had shape. It had sound. It was like music, but made of pauses and sadness. She didn't want to speak too much. She didn't want to break the moment. She just nodded slowly. The driver glanced at her through the mirror. Their eyes met for just 1 second. That second was not long, but it was enough. He knew she was listening, and that gave him the strength to say more. I used to be funny, he said. I made people laugh, at work, at home, even my wife. But now, he shook his head. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Isabella filled the silence in her heart. Now you feel alone, she thought. Now your jokes are quiet. Your house is cold. Sometimes when people speak in English, they stop in the middle. Don't be confused. It's not a mistake. It's real life. Real people don't always finish their thoughts. Sometimes pain interrupts. Sometimes silence is the last word. That is why you must listen deeply. Listen not just with your ears. Listen with your eyes, with your heart. Feel the space between each sentence. There is meaning there. A lot of it. English is not just what did he say? It's also how did he say it? Why did he stop? What did he not say? Back in the car, the streets were still passing by. The hotel was getting closer, but Isabella was not thinking about the hotel anymore. She was thinking about her own life, her husband, her silence, the moments she didn't speak, the words she didn't say, the things she missed. She whispered, "I used to laugh too." The driver didn't reply, but he heard her. You could feel it in the air. Two people, from different countries, different lives, connected by silence. And that is why, if you truly want to learn English, you must learn this lesson. Silence is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Listen to the silence. Learn from the pauses. Feel what is not said. This is how you grow in English, not only by repeating words, but by hearing hearts. Chapter 3. One word, one world. Simple is powerful. The road was straight now. The city lights were behind them. The sky was soft with clouds. The car moved gently. Inside, the quiet continued. But something had changed. The driver had started to speak. Not with long stories. Not with big explanations. Just with short words. Small pieces. But each one meant something. He said, "I used to laugh." He said, "Now I don't." He said, "My daughter cries." He said, "My wife is tired." Then quietly, "I sleep on the couch." Isabella listened. She didn't need more. She understood everything. That's when it became clear. You don't need big words to say big things. You don't need long, perfect sentences to be understood. One short sentence can hold a world of memory, a world of pain, a world of love. The driver never used difficult words. He never said emotional distance or disconnection. He said, "We don't speak." He didn't say, "I suffer from regret." He said, "I packed my bag. I wanted to disappear." And still, his meaning was clear, very clear. Many people who learn English think they need to speak like books. They want to sound clever. They try to use long sentences, fancy words. But real English doesn't live in the big words. It lives in the small ones, the true ones, the simple ones. The driver said, "No." When Isabella asked, "Busy day?" Just one word. But that one word told a story. It told her he was tired. It told her he didn't want to talk. It told her something was wrong. Later, he said, "Family is not easy." That small sentence, just 4 words, held everything. Years of struggle, fights, tears, silence at the dinner table, a daughter behind a closed door, a wife who stopped waiting. You see, short words can be deep. Simple sentences can be strong. This is a powerful truth for every English learner. You don't need to speak fast. You don't need to use hard vocabulary. You just need to speak clearly, gently, honestly. If you feel sad, say, I feel sad. If you miss someone, say, I miss her. If you are tired, say, I am tired. This is real English, the kind that touches people, the kind that people remember. Isabella thought about that. She remembered when she first moved to a new town after her husband passed away. She didn't talk much, but one neighbor saw her and said, "You look lonely." That small sentence brought tears to her eyes, because it was true, because someone saw her, because someone said it simply. Now, in the taxi, she wanted to say something simple too, something soft, something kind. She said, "It's okay to be tired." The driver didn't speak right away, but then he said, "Thank you." 2 words. That's all. But those 2 words were full. This is the lesson. Words don't have to be long to be meaningful. They just have to be real. Many students ask, how can I start speaking English? The answer is this. Start small. Say what you feel. Use small words. Build one sentence at a time. You don't need complicated vocabulary. You don't need to sound like a professor. You just need to speak like a person. Say things like, I want tea. I miss my father. My home is far. She is kind. He is angry. Simple sentences. Honest sentences. When a child learns to speak, they don't say, I am currently experiencing emotional discomfort. They say, I am sad. They say, I want my mom. They say, I don't like this. And yet, we understand them, because the words are full of feeling. This is how you must learn English, not by making it hard, but by keeping it simple. One real word, one real thought, one true sentence. That's all you need. Later in the ride, the driver said, I never learned how to say the right things. Isabella looked at him and said, You just did. Because in truth, he had said everything. And he said it with just a few small words. That is the power of simple English. You don't need more words. You just need the right ones. Chapter 4. A voice that changes. Speak with feeling. The car moved through the city. The sun was beginning to fall. The sky turned gold. The shadows grew longer. But inside the car, something more important was changing. The driver's voice. At first, he spoke in pieces. Small sentences. Simple words. But now something deeper was happening. His voice had slowed down. It became soft. It became honest. This was not just a taxi ride. This was a story. His story. And when someone tells their true story, their voice always changes. He said, I wasn't always like this. I used to bring flowers home. I used to sing in the car with my daughter. She laughed so much. I miss that sound. But now, we don't talk. Isabella sat still. She did not speak. She listened. The driver kept going. My wife says I'm cold, but I'm not cold. I'm just tired. Tired from work. Tired from being the man who never cries. I cry now, but only when no one sees. His voice was different now. It wasn't fast. It wasn't loud. It was quiet, like a slow song. This is what real English sounds like. Not perfect, but true. Isabella noticed something important. When people speak from the heart, the speed changes. The voice softens. The eyes look away. The hands stop moving. The words slow down, and the listener feels it. This is a big lesson for anyone learning English. Don't focus only on grammar. Focus on feeling. Many learners think they must speak fast to sound fluent. They think they must use big words to sound smart. But none of that matters if your words have no feeling. It's better to say one sentence with truth than 10 with emptiness. When you speak English, speak from your life. Speak from your pain. Speak from your joy. Speak from your day. You don't need a big topic. Talk about your walk to the market. Talk about the food you miss. Talk about your father, your friend, your dog, your dream. When you do that, your voice will change, and people will hear it. The driver said, "My daughter used to sit next to me on this seat. She told me about her day. Now she just looks at her phone. She says I don't listen. She's right. I hear her, but I don't really listen." He shook his head. His eyes looked tired. His hands held the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping him together. "I didn't mean to be a bad father," he said. "I just didn't know how to be better." Isabella said, "You are trying. That matters." He looked at her through the mirror. His eyes were full. He didn't cry, but he didn't need to. The silence between them was strong. That silence was part of his story. If you want to speak English well, you must learn this. Words are important, but the way you say them is everything. You don't need to speak quickly. You don't need to speak perfectly. You need to speak like you care. Speak like you mean it. Speak like someone who wants to be understood, not someone who wants to impress. Take your time. Say, "I miss my brother." Say, "I don't know what to do." Say, "I want to go home." Say, "I'm afraid." Say it slow. Say it with heart, because that is the kind of English that people never forget. The driver spoke again. "Last year, my daughter drew a picture. It was me, sitting alone on the couch. She gave it to me. No words, just the picture. I didn't know what to say. I laughed, but it wasn't funny." That moment had stayed with him. One drawing, one silent message. He had never forgotten it. That is how we remember things. not by grammar, but by feeling. Isabella said, "My husband once wrote me a note. It only said, 'I see you.' That was all, but it meant everything." She paused. Then she smiled gently. "He saw my tired face. He saw my pain. He didn't say much, but he meant every word." The driver nodded. Then he whispered, "That's what I want to learn. How to say less, but mean more." This is a lesson for all of us, for learners, for speakers, for people. When you speak English, speak like you are telling someone something true, something real. Don't try to be perfect. Try to be honest, because one voice, one slow, simple sentence can reach the heart. And when your words come from your heart, they stay in other hearts too. Chapter 5. The listener learns more. Learn by listening. The driver kept speaking. His voice was low and steady now, like rain on a quiet street. He talked about his daughter, her silence, her sadness. He talked about his wife, her anger, her tired eyes, her quiet dinners. He talked about himself, how he once made jokes, how he once felt strong. But now, he just felt like a man who drives people to places he cannot afford. Isabella sat beside him, still, calm. She didn't speak much, only when needed. She nodded. She looked at him gently, but mostly she listened. And in that moment, she was learning. Not learning about the city, not about the hotel. She was learning something deeper, something quiet. She was learning by listening, listening with full attention, with full heart. No phone, no notebook, no need to speak back, just presence. And this, dear learner, is how you can truly learn English too. Many people think learning English is about speaking all the time, talking, repeating, practicing, performing. But there is another side, a more powerful side. Listening. Listening teaches you the real music of English, not just the sound, but the emotion, the rhythm, the memory inside the words. In that taxi, Isabella heard more than sentences. She heard a life, a man who forgot how to laugh, a home where words were quiet, a heart that was waiting to be heard. She didn't need a classroom. She didn't need grammar rules. She was learning from real life, from real feeling, from silence and sound mixed together. This is your tip. Don't only practice speaking, practice listening, deep listening. Listen to people when they talk. Listen to movies without subtitles sometimes. Listen to stories told slowly. Listen to how someone breathes before they say something sad. Listen to how their voice rises when they talk about something happy. That's English, too. Real English is not just in words. It's in the way words are said. It's in the pause before "I'm sorry." It's in the sigh after "I'm tired." It's in the quiet after "she left." When you listen deeply, you don't only learn vocabulary, you learn people. That's why Isabella said almost nothing, because she knew Her silence was helping him speak. And when people speak their truth, their language becomes clear, simple, pure. She heard him say, "I work all the time." She heard him say, "I don't know how to fix it." She heard him say, "I sleep on the couch." And in every sentence, she felt the weight. So she listened, not just with her ears, but with her whole body. This is what you must do. When someone speaks English, stop everything else. Put down the book. Close the grammar app. Listen with your eyes, your mind, your heart. Feel the story, not just the sound. Because English is not just a language, it's a mirror of life. And life is made of emotions, not only phrases. If you listen with care, your brain will learn the structure. But more importantly, your heart will learn the meaning. Later in the ride, the driver became quiet again. Not because he had nothing more to say, but because he had said what mattered. He looked at Isabella. He smiled. A soft, tired smile. She smiled back. He said, "Thank you for listening." She said, "Thank you for speaking." 2 short sentences, but full of meaning, full of learning. You see, Isabella had not asked him questions like in a test. She did not say, "Tell me your name. Tell me your job." She just made space, and the story came out. And in that story, there was real English, English of the heart, English that grows slowly and stays forever. This is how you can learn too. Find a story, a real one, a voice that speaks slow, a voice that feels, a person, not a robot. And listen. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Close your eyes. Feel the mood. Hear the music. Let it live in your ears. Language is not only something to remember, it is something to carry. When you become a good listener, you become a good learner, and later, a good speaker. Isabella did not speak much, but she left the taxi wiser. She had learned something that no textbook could teach, and so can you. Start by listening. Chapter 6: Mistakes, Regrets, and Real Learning. The car was close to the hotel now, but time had slowed down. Not because the wheels moved slower, but because both hearts inside the taxi were full of memory, full of emotion, full of quiet regret. The driver spoke less now. Isabella also stayed quiet. But inside, both were remembering the same thing: mistakes. Not small ones. Not forgetting the keys or missing a bus. These were life mistakes. Deep ones. The kind that stay with you. He had not listened to his daughter. She had not said what she wanted to say to her husband. He worked every day. He paid the bills. But he forgot to ask, "How do you feel?" She cooked, cleaned, waited, but never said, "I'm tired too." And now, both of them sat in a car, years later, with stories too late to fix, but not too late to feel. And this is where the truth lives. Mistakes are part of life. Everyone makes them, even the best fathers, even the kindest wives, even people who smile every day. And this truth belongs to language too. When you learn English, you will make mistakes. You will forget words. You will say the wrong thing. You will feel nervous. Your voice may shake. Your grammar may break. But that is not failure. Failure is silence forever. The driver said, "I should have listened more." Isabella replied, "I should have spoken more." In that exchange, something became clear. Learning is not about being perfect. It's about being honest, being brave enough to try again, being open enough to say, "I didn't know, but I'm here. I'm learning." So many learners stay quiet because they're afraid to be wrong. They think, if I say it wrong, people will laugh. But most people won't laugh. Most people will listen. Most people will help, because everyone knows how it feels to struggle. The driver continued, "When my daughter said, 'You never listen,' I wanted to say, 'I'm sorry.' But I said nothing. I just went to work." Isabella looked out the window. She said softly, "When my husband got sick, I thought we still had time. I didn't say all the things I wanted to. Then one day, he was gone." The car rolled forward, quiet, but the lessons were loud. This is what life teaches us, and what English learning must also teach. You will regret silence more than mistakes. Say what you feel, even if it's not perfect. Say, "I don't know." Say, "I'm trying." Say, "Please explain." Say, "I'm sorry." Say, "Thank you." Say, "I don't understand this part." Say, "Can you help me?" None of these sentences are wrong. They are brave. They are human. They are real English. You don't learn a language by hiding. You learn it by showing up every day with your broken sentences, with your accent, with your small voice, with your questions, with your effort. The driver made mistakes. So did Isabella. But both of them were trying now, talking now, and that was enough, because the truth is, even broken words can heal something. Even wrong grammar can carry love. Even a small hello can open a heart. You must speak, even if you're scared. Speak, even if you forget. Speak, even when your sentence is not complete. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. And never wait too long, because silence becomes regret, and regret is heavier than any mistake. At the end of the ride, the driver pulled up to the hotel. The lights were soft. The door opened. But neither of them moved yet. He said, "Thank you for listening." She said, "Thank you for sharing." Then, as she stepped out, she turned and said, "It's not too late, you know. You can still say sorry. You can still listen. You can still try." The driver nodded. His eyes were full, but his heart felt lighter. So here is your lesson. Regret nothing. Try every day. Speak from your truth, even if it's small, even if it's not perfect. English is not about never making a mistake. It's about never stopping, never giving up, never hiding what you feel. Speak, try, make mistakes, then try again. That's how you learn.